Hey,
Great. I think we
people.
finally have it transition automatically to the next scene. So, we slowly getting it together with this new platform.
What's going
So,
on, y'all? How y'all doing?
how's everyone doing today? How's it going? How's it happening?
How y'all remember Darren? What's going on? Ooh.
Yes. I also figured that
Ooh.
by downscaling the stream from 1080p to 720, it might deal with our things until we can both get more powerful computers. So maybe that's what Santa will get us for Christmas. Santa baby, come slip a new computer under my tree for me. I've been an awfully good boy, Santa baby. So hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa cutie.
What's going on? I want to
Terrible
know how's everybody doing.
orange or two light blue.
Oh, well, then there's,
Hey Lola, hey Desmond.
what's going on, y'all? Desmond,
Oh my goodness, it's so good
wait,
to see
Lola, can you give us
you.
a update on the job situation? I mean, we talked a little bit, but I mean, like, can you give me a little update? Something?
Lola Ben
Message
got
me
a new
something?
job.
No. We was talking about some other stuff. Because she was looking at some stuff over at the Black Degree Factory.
Oh, we are
I
on.
just
I
want to
got
see.
a thing.
I'm curious just to see if if they even got back to you. But I'm just curious. Just curious. But besides that, how's everybody? I hope everyone's doing well. Oh, hey Joshua, what's going on? I hope everybody had a good week. And I'm a little disheveled at this point. It's like I'm looking at the camera is here, and then I have a screen over here, so I'm trying to look at the screen at the same time, and I'm also trying to pull this last little piece of information up. Oh, look, and there's peach rings. I'm distracted. So, um, yeah. Anyway, it's been a long, short week already, and it's been a good week at the same time.
Mhm.
So hopefully everyone had a good week. How was your week, Dominion?
My week was good. It was just regular work stuff. What I can say is that the boss is on vacation starting today. So, for the next 7 days, they're out of the office. So, when the boss is on vacation, it's at least a half vacation for us. So
Okay, all right.
thank God for that. My week was cool. Work continues to be worky. Although I do have two things to note, right? So yesterday we had a potluck, and
Okay.
so first that was fine because everybody on our team is and except for and the two people that aren't, one bought sodas and the other bought a Greek salad, which is, I mean, yes, you can fuck up a Greek salad, but I mean, it's cucumbers, red onions. Uh,
You most certainly can.
well,
Salad. You
they they
most
they did
certainly
a
can.
they did a fine job. And anyway, so we, and so then
Okay.
our direct supervisor is all like, so ain't nobody gonna say nothing, and then we're like, what the fuck is there to say? But then anyway, so I'm asking questions, and they're like, "Hey, so what is it that you really want out of this reporting?" And they start talking and a blah blah blah, and it just solidified that my opinion that yeah. And anyway, so then we were like, they were like, well, remember that the person above them, they have to read a lot of stuff. They have to read all of the stuff from my group, plus this group, plus that group, and that group. And as I said to some people afterwards, I was like, sir, You expect me to have sympathy for a bitch that make more than $300,000 a year? The fuck? I mean, it's your job. You are a vice president in charge of all of this stuff. So all of the groups roll up to you. So of course you got a lot of shit to read, but that goes with the job. That is literally your job, is to organize and understand all the shit that's going on in the organization. And I have zero sympathy for you.
I got nothing.
Yeah. And then so the second work thing is that, you know, I'm getting more than a little tired of people who say, you know, like there's a meeting and, you know, Epic is, you know, if someone's running late or, you know, we're now taking notes. Because what I've started doing is when we have a Teams meeting, so here we are, if I'm taking pictures, right? So we're, you know, this is all construction, right? So we're taking pictures and we're talking about shit. So I take the picture and post the picture in the chat for, you know, the meeting so that everybody has access to that. And then when we do a quick summary of the site walk and everything, all that shit is in there. It was like we was there and Dominion did this and, you know, Elimination did this and so on. And then Epic has the nerve to say in the chat, oh, I didn't know about this meeting. That's why I'm not there. Nigga, the only reason you were on this chat is because you got the invite. Only bitches that was on the invite is in the chat. Just say that you don't pay attention to your fucking email and you don't read. Don't be like, don't try to make it sound like, oh, we left you off. Sir, by definition of you seeing these words, you was on the invite. Because it's not like we just randomly started grabbing people. You know, in Outlook, you can, if you have a meeting, at least the way ours is set up, if you set up a meeting in Outlook or in Teams, it automatically creates a chat for that meeting. Yep. And, you know, you can talk in that and whatever. And so today someone else did the same shit. So like we was all running late because, bitch, I have been getting to work later and late. You are a bad influence because I have been getting to work later and later. So it was.
Is it your commute? Is that what it is? Is your commute from upstairs to downstairs? Is that what it is?
No, we got to go into the office, but my commute is only still like 20 minutes. But everybody ain't got to know that. But so here it is, 8:15, and our friend, I'm just going to start referring to him. He is not my Jamaican guy, but you know, we're just going to start calling him that because that is not the nature of our relationship. He's cool people, but that's just, you know, I don't want to call people's real names. So like my Jamaican guy was like, he texted me at like 8:15 and was like, hey, I can't even remember what he texted me about. And bitch, I wasn't planning to get up until 8:30 because the boss was on vacation. So I wasn't planning to roll in that girl to like 9:15, 9:20. But he was like, hey, can we switch a meeting that we have tomorrow to today? And so, you know, because it was him, I was actually going to respond. So I opened up and looked at my shit and was like, oh shit. I'm not only supposed to be at work, but I'm supposed to be on a site walk at 9. So I had to get out of bed and get dressed and be on the road in 10 minutes. So anyway, I get there and or less. And so I'm getting there and I'm emailing the group that, I am running late. I'll be there like 9:15. Not a big deal because it was raining and other people were running late too. And so somebody replies to the group. It was like, I didn't know anything about this meeting and he's not black. So I didn't use, I would have never used the N-word anyway. But I was like, sir, the only reason you are part of this communication stream is because you was on the invite. You think I'm just randomly adding people to an email? And, you know, it's just getting on my nerves more and more that people aren't doing their job and then but see, the way they say it's very passive aggressive because you could have just not said anything, right? But by saying to the chat, oh, I was left out of this thing, tries to make it sound like somebody left you out of something when all you're actually doing is pointing out that you don't pay attention to your fucking email. So, I have gone back to doing something that I stopped doing when I worked for Homeland Security, which is send red receipts on everything. Because I got out of that habit because, my old mentor was like, sending red receipts implies that you don't trust people and yada, yada, yada. And I was like, you're right, whatever. No, but now I don't trust the girls because it's too many people who feel way too comfortable. Like I will email people and be like, hey, Epic, what's the status of your price quote? Because it's your job to go get a price quote for this shit. You understand that everybody expects us to have this work done by the end of the month, and it's your job to get the price quote so then we can submit the shit. Now I didn't ask you that question on Friday, and here it is Wednesday, and you haven't responded. So when I sent the shit again, I sent it to you and your boss and asked for a red receipt. And if you hoes hadn't read that shit by the end of the day, tomorrow I was about to blow some shit up. And then finally they get back and, Epic says, and your boss says, oh, Epic is working on another project, which is why he hadn't gotten back to you. Well, so I'm like, that's bullshit in its entirety. Because if I have a deliverable to you, even if I am working on 1,000 other things, I could spend the 10 seconds that it takes for me to say, I'm working on it and I will get back to you, or I haven't started on it, but here is where it is in my priority. To just not respond for almost a week is crazy to me. So
it's that's a double-edged sword. And I say that only because from your internal customers and external customers, all of them are customers. So let's be clear with that. And you should pretty much respond back to the customer and let them know where you are, what you're doing. But sometimes it feels like in this particular instance with the Black Degree Factory, sometimes the customer, you're like, wait a minute, baby. Like I hold on. Like I'm working with you. I don't work for you, but I work with you. Allow me to do what it is that I do, and I will let you know. But it can sometimes be the expectations, and it's a little bit different. Get out of here, Clark. It's a little bit different with when the customer is a student, and so it's almost like a trigger. I was just like,
trying to be nice to the girls, but they keep trying it.
I had some young person say to me, a young lady, she said, "Ooh," she said, "You kind of sassy." I said,
"Did you trying to get your teeth knocked down your throat?"
I said, "Sassy."
The fuck you mean sassy?
Am I sassy or am I
just trying to call you a faggot? Is what she was trying to do.
I knew exactly what she was trying to call me, and that's why I said to her, I said, am I sassy, or is it just that I don't want to hear all this fluff that you're telling me right now? Because I just want to find out what your question is so that I can answer it and send you on your way.
Right, because girl, I will help you, but if you try to read the girls, then you might find yourself out of luck.
So here's the thing. From several points of view, A, I'm older, I have more insurance. B, I've probably been there, done that. We just gonna call it
maybe it's very few stunts that you haven't tried to pull. So don't try to pull a stunt on a stunt queen.
So like that's where and so that's why
I say that as a not fully reformed stunt queen. So
listen, we ain't even talk about the reform part. That's not even in my vocabulary when it comes to stunts, because baby, stunts are necessary sometimes. Stunts and shows are necessary sometimes, and when used properly, they can be used as tools of advancement, engagement, deployment, stoppage, or whatever you want to do. But listen, they're necessary. You can use them. But again, my whole point being, baby, this whole stunt that you're going to try to pull here, you're trying to get some extra money out of somebody, baby. I know this whole stunt right here. This is how I walked out with my second scholarship. Bitch, don't do that. Don't do that. Now, I done told you we don't have no money. What we're doing? We don't have none. Let me tell you who you can talk to. This is what we're doing. So, and in her, when we went through everything, she was like, "Oh, okay. Well, can I come back to you? To me? Oh, okay, sure." As long as I'm not in the meeting and I'm on the front desk, sure, you can come back to me. Absolutely, and I will help you. Mm-hmm. The fuck? But anyway,
Right.
Yeah, but yes, from a work standpoint, that communication part, just keeping in touch with people, even if you, like you said, if you don't necessarily have the answer to the question, like, I don't have the answer to the question, I'm still working on it, I'll get back to you in 24 hours or 15 minutes or whatever it is. Whatever. Just acknowledge.
The same person who does that is, and I'll be using your name, but it's not like it's actually you, right?
It probably is.
No, it's not.
But I'm just saying, in certain situations, it probably is.
Right. I'll be like, hey, Epic, so we need you to order the equipment for Kalamazoo, Michigan. Here is the scope of work. Here is the project number that you're supposed to charge to. Here's all the other details. Here is the person that you need to ship the shit to, and the address and the phone number and his email and all of this stuff, right? Because I have learned over the years, just all lessons learned, send the shit people all in the fucking email so that they don't have it. First of all, when we have the kickoff, you say to me, what project is this? Bitch, is in the motherfucking invite. And then, when we get to doing it, right? So finally, now that I've got you to order all of the shit, you're like, what WBSE would stand for work breakdown structure element, the project number that we should be charging to. What project number we should be charging to? Sir, there are several ways that you should already know this because you have been charging time on this project every week. So it's the same number that you charge your time to, for one. For two, your organization said to me, before you order shit, you got to provide us all this information. So by the fact that we are even working together means that you already have that shit and you already have it in writing. So
the only rebuttal I have for that is, when people are doing multiple things, it's a mental shift.
Because whatever it is you have to do, I have to do 5 times that amount of stuff. And if I can look up all of the project numbers that I need, so can you. So yes, that person has.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with that
you're giving a rebuttal, and everybody's like, I'm busy. But bitch, I'm busy too. But I always do 90% of the times the questions that people ask are they ask questions to where if they did even the slightest bit of research, the answer is readily available. And so, at first I didn't want to be a dick and I'd be like, here's the project number, here's everything. Now, Epic, you already have that information. And I move on to the next thing. I don't even be, getting, because these girls be trying to have your pressure up. And the worst part about it is, and I've talked about this many times, is that we don't necessarily have supportive leadership. So
wait a minute. Am I high or is the camera shaking? Okay. It's the camera
shaking a little.
Because I was like, huh?
Yes.
What's going on?
Sorry, both. Maybe both. But
no.
So the thing is like, okay, we had a situation last or earlier this week. So somebody else, so I'm gonna keep using you. Epic's boss said, hey, we got to change the scope on these 2 projects, right? And the person who owns the project is like, bitch, we've already spent $5 million. You want to do a $1 million change? If you want to do it, you got to come up with the $1 million to do it for this one project and the $1 million to do it for the other project. Well, we did it for the one project and everything is done. Now we're about to do it on the other project. And when I come back to the person, to your boss and be like, hey, Epic's boss, remember that other project where we had to spend $1 million to affect this change that you want, that no one else wants, but you want? You need to come up off $1 million to make it happen. Your boss is like, I ain't got it. But we've gone too far down the road to not do the work. But now we need you to come up with the money. And so then I report this to the boss and the big boss, and the big boss is like, well, why didn't you tell them that they needed to be prepared for it? And I was like, I did tell them a year ago. And why do I have to tell someone with the word senior and director in their job that they have to pay for a change that they initiated, and I have to keep reminding them of this shit? Child, so many
I
people
mean,
will be. So we fired a lot of people this summer, but we ain't fired the right people. And so I told her, I was like, and so, you know, some days I'll be ready. I'll be ready for the girls to fire me. But I was like, before I leave, I'm going to say what the fuck I need to say.
baby,
And
listen.
I was like, this is ridiculous that we are being held accountable because, so your first thing isn't like, oh, okay, hey, the first thing that you say out of your mouth is, well, Dominion, Brian, well, why didn't you let them know that they needed to do this? They knew that they needed to do this. They just thought everybody else was going to take care of the shit. And the reason they think that is because you always cover for their ass.
All I have to say is, listen, I do not wish this on you, but baby, if you get let go for some reason, before you say anything, call me. I'm coming. I will videotape everything because, baby, that will be your viral moment. Just let me be clear. That's all I'm saying.
So the interesting thing is that the same guy that was talking about we should have sympathy for this bitch to make $300,000, you know, we had to do the bitch to make $300,000 ask other people that report to him. So it's my boss, the SD, and then the bitch that make 300. She's not a bitch. She's a lovely person, but still.
In this instance,
she asked
the bitch
people
that makes $300,000
below him to give feedback on his performance. And so my boss comes to me and was like, what do you think about his performance? I said, first of all, is this anonymous feedback? She was like, no, we had to provide it in email. I said, well, I'm not sure what you want me to say because I think he's a terrible leader. And she was like, we can't say that. I was like, do you want me to give you a point by point as to why? I was like, page 1, page 2, page 3, page 25, page 45. Because, baby, I keep notes. Because if the shit ever goes out here,
Subsection A, B, D, and K.
Every time they do something crazy, if the shit ever goes south for me, I will be letting the girls know. I will be lighting the girls up across the entire enterprise on my way out the door. Now, I want to be clear. I am not that guy. I am not trying to light anything up, but I'm also not going to be made the scapegoat for other people's failure to pay attention and do their job. But anyway, enough about work. So this weekend was also U.S. conference on HIV and AIDS. And just like last year, they had a big thing at the National Museum of African American History and Culture.
Mm-hmm.
And just like last year, they had a late middle-aged Black woman who got on stage and said shit that, while not crazy, was out of touch. Last year, it was Ruby Bridges. This year, it was Cookie Johnson. So first of all, when they said Cookie Johnson, I was like, because I'm not actually in that space, so I'm there. Not the only reason I'm invited, but everybody that's there, this is part of the bigger, weekend. So everybody that's there works in the HIV/AIDS space, either as a nonprofit or they work for a drug company or they're involved in policy or something. So everybody is there. And then there's a group of people like me who are community partners. And I'm a community partner because I am the chair of the Onyx National Council, which is the world's largest kink and fetish organization. So that's why I'm there at the whole thing, right? So I didn't know most, or really any of the people on the stage. And then when they said so and so and so and so is an activist from Houston, Texas, so and so and so and so, founder of some gay men's HIV group in San Francisco. The moderator is so and so and so and so. Don't know that person. And Cookie Johnson. And I was like, I don't know who the fuck Cookie Johnson is. And then as she was talking, and when she started telling the story, I was like, oh, that Cookie Johnson. Because again, Cookie. Apparently, Magic Johnson earlier in the day had given a whole presentation and talk and everything. And so this was just the other side of that. But baby, we was halfway through. I was well into my entree of lightly seasoned chicken. Was past the salad and into my entree of lightly seasoned chicken and very tasty rainbow carrots. When I was like, all of a sudden, I was just like, because this is the thing, baby. You're either you don't have to say anything, so you're just sitting there, right? And baby, you could just eat the free food and shut the fuck up. I mean, so really, that was all I was doing. And then I was like, oh, that Cookie Johnson. I was halfway through the meal before I realized who the fuck this woman was. And she was a lovely woman, but I think, first of all, I was annoyed that she was on that stage, but a portion, I would say a portion of what she had to say was basically like, I'm going to give you the tiniest tidbit, but if you want the full story, read my book. And, you know, the organization that put it on and rented out the whole museum and paid for all this food and shit didn't pay for you to say, if you want the full story, read my book. But then also some of the ways, and I didn't really think about it until after I sort of debriefed at a house party the next day, was that some of the ways she talked about HIV and AIDS and even being gay and some other things, none of it was terrible or disparaging. So I don't want to make it sound like she came out and said, you fags got what you deserve. She didn't say anything like that, but she definitely spoke like someone who, one, wasn't in the HIV AIDS space, and two, didn't speak the language in the way that the language is spoken, you know, these days. Like, she didn't say this, but it's a difference between referring to someone as trans or transgender versus calling them transsexual. You know what I mean? So again, right. It wasn't like she said she hated anything. It was just she was talking about it in a way that was kind of blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it was fine. And I got the food and everything was lovely. And they had some really inspiring stories of people living with HIV, some of whom, and, you know, you don't really think about this, but there's a unfortunately significant population of people who have had HIV all their life, meaning they were born with it.
Yes.
So there were some people on stage who talked about, you know, seroconverting and, you know, how that was like the longest 15 minutes of their life, you know, when they got their news back. And then a couple of people talked about their, you know, sort of being born with it. And, you know, this one woman was, you know, like, you know, she found out and she was like, that was then, you know, they told her she couldn't have children. Baby, she got 5 children now and several grandchildren. And so it was like, it was inspiring stories. And our brother that works for one of the companies was the one that who sort of helped put all of those stories together. So it was a good window and insight into what he did. And then the next day,
was this both? Okay.
Yeah. And so the next day was a big plenary where they did more talk about the whole timeline of HIV from like the first case of, I think they were calling it GRID.
Yeah, it was GERD. Is it GRID or
Resistant
GERD?
immune deficiency. Something like, yeah, it was GIRD, but all those letters are in there. But anyway, all the way from there in like 1981, all the way to today. And then, they talked about the process of ART, which is antiretroviral therapy, and then eventually into PrEP, and then leading into injectable PrEP. And a lot of people spoke, and it was really nice. And I was just grateful and happy to be there. So it was just a good, fun weekend overall. And then we went to a party that Us Helping Us was having at the Hard Rock Cafe as like a closing event. And it was really cute. I was like, because I had never been, I'd never been to the Hard Rock there. So remember where East Street? Have you been to the Hard Rock in downtown?
I was gonna say, where's the East Street? You talking about East Street Theater?
So it's right next door to that.
East Street Cinema, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Hard Rock Cafe is like on the corner of 10th, I think it's 10th and E Street. And E Street Cinema was on E Street between 9th and 10th.
Okay. Well, I haven't been there. Yeah, I haven't been there.
So, yeah, I hadn't been there. But it is a cute, it's too big for Onyx to do anything, but just as a cute place for us to go like one time.
Okay. So. No, last time I went to Hard Rock, I went to go see, I was in Pittsburgh. I went to, and they were closing that Hard Rock. But that was where actually Spill It Boy was actually, he performed. It was a whole show with a whole bunch of people.
Thanks, Greg. It was GRID, gay-related immune deficiency.
Yes. Okay.
But yeah, so it was a really good afternoon and or good weekend of hanging out and blah blah blah. And then so the next big thing is blackout. Did you see the email? Or had you registered?
Which so I did not. I had not registered. You were talking about blackout or MAL?
Blackout. Well, blackout, let's talk about blackout and then MAL.
No, and then I saw the email about registering for MAL. But so this is a conversation that I was having with myself just about the order of things. Baby, these next couple of months is just tight. So I'm trying to figure. I'm picking and choosing right now. So no, I haven't as of yet. I'm just trying to figure out what I want to prioritize.
Well, so
but
we'll have that conversation offline because I feel like for Onyx, I reserved a couple too many rooms, so you can probably have one of the rooms that are available.
We can talk about that.
You gotta pay for it, but we'll talk about it. But for blackout, there is a new host hotel. It's the Millennium. Yada yada yada.
Yes, we can definitely have that because I got some when I was talking about one of our brothers that came in. He started giving me a little bit of information on the backside, so we can talk about that offline.
Yeah, and whatever information that we have, we should probably keep to ourselves.
Yes, and that's what I'm just saying. We can talk about that offline.
I'm more so saying that for other people because I don't want, and now I'm speaking as the chair of the Onyx National Council. All you girls need to know is that there's a new hotel, and as far as you ain't know nothing about the previous hotel, so you really shouldn't have a whole lot of opinions on the change from one hotel to the other. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to a lot of people always just got shit to say, but you aren't on the planning committee. You don't have to do anything but show up wherever the fuck blackout is. That's all you got to do. And they said if you reserved, if you already have a reservation, you don't have to do nothing but show up. You don't have to call a hotel or do anything. You're going to get the same kind of room that you had at, and this is it if you booked at any of the 3 hotels, because there was a host hotel and 2 overflow hotels. So all of that shit is taken care of, and I just want to
we can chat. We're going to chat about that afterwards.
Try it.
Not a lot of opinions, really.
Yeah, so that's So that's about it. So
I was
I got your story. Yeah, see, the problem is that
on the flip side.
with when
Am I lagging or are you lagging? Because it seems like we're lagging at some point. But it don't matter. So we're good. But for me,
Can
the
you hear me now?
weekend, I've heard you this entire time. Like I didn't hear, like there was no break.
Okay, well,
It was
good.
just it was a lag.
There was a lag, but I think because I was trying to download something. But you may go.
Did you dollars Dan download? Didn't you know did we talk about this before? You download stuff while we on the screen?
Girl, just talk.
Anyway, but yeah, the weekend for me, it was good. It was relaxing. It was a little tiring, but it was relaxing at the same time. I'm just trying to give my I don't know why I keep going back to this place of having downtime, and I feel like I'm just requiring more and more and more downtime. So my downtime is just becoming more and more precious for me. And it's let me be clear. It's not like I'm doing anything. It's just I just don't have to do anywhere. I don't have to be anywhere. I don't have to do anything. That part is becoming precious to me. I don't want to wake up to no nonsense. I don't want to go to bed to no nonsense. I don't want to have nonsense at home. Like that, all that type of stuff. But it was pretty good. It was, I mean, my usual routine. I did my little karaoke stint and hung out for a little bit. Just chit chatted with a few folks and just had a good time. So it was just very relaxing. But there's always stuff that's on my mind, some family stuff, some work stuff, some Onyx stuff, just always stuff on my mind. But other than that, it was a pretty uneventful weekend for me. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. I'm liking uneventful. But it was pretty good. So I don't really have too many complaints about that. I did get to finally watch the rest of Wednesday, because I'm not sure if you had been watching the series itself as well.
No,
Like,
I haven't watched it yet.
So listen, I'm just gonna go ahead and put this out there for all of you. If you haven't watched it, for me, I fucking love Wednesday. I fucking love the show, and I say that only because the way it's written is so. Again, it's not even about the Addams family and the way that it's written, where you're kind of going back and finding stuff out. For me, I just find it the only word I can think of is just delicious. Like I'm savoring the moments that I'm like, okay, wait a minute, this is where we are. Oh, what's going on? Like it's keeping my attention in that way. And I was so pissed off with the first 4 episodes, and I was like, I don't like it. I think I was mad because I couldn't finish the damn rest of the episode. I think that's what really was going on. But when the final 4 episodes that I actually was able to watch, it's absolutely delicious. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm already thinking about the next season because they did some things or like ended on a note where you kind of knew that there's something else that's going on or maybe going on in the next season or whatever. And it was pretty good. There were some other celebrity guest appearances. I don't want to ruin it for everybody, but
I'm definitely going to watch it. I watched the first season and loved it. I just hadn't gotten around to watching. I just finished watching Star Trek. So
but listen, and that I woke up one night I fell asleep and I woke up to Star Trek on, I think it was Netflix or Hulu or something, one of them damn things. And now I'm fucking hooked.
Good for you.
Yeah. But I will definitely say for you, sit down and take, because it's good. And I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I enjoyed that. That was like a highlight for my weekend. So I enjoyed that. So Black Degree Factory is getting a little bit colder, chillier, not as many people, but things seem to be working a little bit. So but it's this eerie quiet, this eerie calm that I'm trying to figure out what's getting ready to go on. Something get ready to jump off. Like we had a rough, rocky start over the summer and the beginning of the semester, sort of, kinda, but I'm feeling like what else is going to jump off? I don't know. But we shall see. We shall see, but we're gonna keep our fingers and toes crossed. But for the most part, we don't have too many complaints. I'm pretty good with it. And yeah, it's been good. So my weekend was pretty uneventful, which I'm okay with.
Good. All right. We got a few stories to get into, so we'll get in and we'll talk about them on the backside.
Absolutely.
Oh, look, it's Candace Owens showing us how much money she'll have after the Macrones finish with her. This woman has bit off way more than she could chew, and she's about to get a legal enema from the first family of France. Candace Owens said, "This episode is blowing up, so I just want to say, after looking at this, I would stake my entire professional reputation on the fact that Brigitte Macron is in fact a man. Candace has no professional reputation to speak of, so she has staked nothing. But her long-time attack on these two people, Emmanuel Macron, the president of France, and Brigitte, the first lady of France, has earned her a defamation lawsuit in the United States. And these two wealthy people want a jury trial, they want an award, they want damages, they want to bankrupt Candace Owens. And maybe while they're at it, they'll put this person in the dustbin of history next to this person. They call what Candace has been doing here transvestigation. Like an investigation into whether or not someone is trans. This is always based on seeing a cis woman and saying, she's got big shoulders, she's got a big nose, she doesn't have European beauty standards, she might be a man. And this is part of the mainstreaming of the cockamamie ideas that have existed in the internet fever swamps, in the fringe corners of the internet. And now people like this feel comfortable to bring that shit out into the mainstream. But she's about...
So...
cockamamie. I haven't heard that word in God knows how long, but go ahead.
All I'm going to say is, I'm rooting for everybody black except Candace.
So let me say this. I am not a Candace Owens fan.
Mm-hmm.
She was on, I don't know if we talked about this on the show last time about Candace Owens, but she said one thing that I couldn't even fight it logically. She said, and what I mean by logic, I mean like I couldn't make it say that doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? But okay. She said she was on Hollywood Unlocked talking to Jason Lee, and she was talking about trans men and women, and she was saying something about, well, if they were born with this chromosome and that chromosome, then they are this or they are that, and you just can't assume an identity. And then Jason Lee was saying, well, no, that's not what that is, because this is what this person feels like, this is where they are, this is what they, this is they're living their life this way, these are the steps that they've taken, this is where they are, and mentally this is what they were feeling, all these sorts of things, and this is where we are, and this person is trans. And she said, okay, well, if we're talking about feelings and things of that sort, then we have to talk about Rachel Dolezal. And I was like, what? He said, well, if she feels and she thinks that she's black, then she should be black. And I was just like, and Jason was like, no. And she was like, well, yeah. He was like, no, but that's different. They're trans. We're talking about racial identity. She was like, what's the difference? And I'm sitting there, and in my mind, I'm like, that is wrong. But then I was like, well, wait a minute. That was the only time I have ever sat back and looked at her and like, I was a little. I had
I'm not going to
let me be clear. Let me be clear.
I know that's not what you're saying. I know that I'm not suggesting.
But the argument and the way she laid it out, I was just kind of like, okay. But anyway, that's the only time I actually was remotely even interested in something that she had to say, and it caught my attention because it caught me off guard. Like, what? What? Like, that's the only time. And that was just probably within the last 2 weeks. I think I saw that. But sorry, Candace, you're gonna be broke after they finish suing you about defamation. So that's all I got. You can come on the show and we can, maybe talk about some of the stuff that you did wrong. I don't know. That's all I got.
Let me see if I can you see, you can see this quote.
It's small, but it is not large. But we can't read the words. That was okay.
All right. So
I don't know why we're really taking this much time, because we just can just say he was killed and that's where we are.
This is another thing where, these kids have said incredible shit, and now something incredible has happened. Charlie Kirk said, this was in 2023, it is worth it to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment. He said
and that's what he died for.
He said that in 2023. Today, they have one of these things where they call them debates, but they aren't really debates, because one side of the debate is always like batshit crazy. Sometimes it's like a scholar or like a medical doctor against all of these batshit crazy people that think that they know more than someone who spent 4 years going to medical school, 4 years in a residency, and has been a practicing physician in some particular specialty like infectious diseases for the past 20 years. But this bitch who read an article on the internet thinks that they know better than them. So sometimes it's the doctor versus that crazy, a bunch of crazy people. So the guy sits there, and then the crazy people come in and they get an opportunity to come to the table and say whatever ridiculous shit that they want to say, and then whatever. Sometimes it's the other way around. The crazy person has the stage, and then all these other people get to come and talk to him. So that's what happened today. Charlie Kirk, the crazy person, was in a tent. It said, what did that tent say? It said something like, "Change my mind." And so he asked, someone said to him, how many mass shooters have been transgender? And he said his response was too many. And then the guy was like, no, it's actually been like 5 out of like all of the hundreds of, mass shooters that there have been over the past, I don't know, since Columbine was when we really started using the phrase mass shooter. There's only been 5 who are identified as transgender versus all of the white men and the occasional Negro, but almost all men who have done this. So he said that, basically framing mass shootings as a transgender issue, because his response to the question of how many was too many, as if there were like lots
thousands of people.
Then the next question,
and it was not.
The follow-up question was how many mass shooters do you he said, and the guy said 5, and then there was some other bit of conversation, and then the question was, how many mass shootings do you think there have been? And he said, does that include gang violence?
Right. And then I think that's when he got,
what we know is a dog whistle for black and brown people, because that's what they always say. That's why y'all president thinks that we should have the National Guard in the streets because of gang violence in DC, Chicago, and Los Angeles. And we know what he means we know exactly what they mean when they say gang violence. And no sooner had the words gang violence come out of his mouth when that shot rang out. And maybe I saw the raw video on the Twitter.
I did too. And like, here's the thing.
Baby, when I saw that, I was like, oh.
We become so desensitized, because I was like, did he just get shot?
Well, by the time I saw it, I knew what I was going to look for. But when I saw it, I was like, when they were like, he's in serious condition, I was like, no, that motherfucker died right there, because the size of that hole and the amount of, I don't want to. That was pouring out. The amount of blood that was gushing out. The amount of blood he lost right in that moment, and by the time they rushed him to this wasn't like, put some tussin on it and hold the and so listen, I respect anybody who says that they don't want to watch the video to protect their peace, but when I was a kid, my mother, she didn't so much make me do anything, but she certainly put the information out there. She allowed me and encouraged me to read slave journals, particularly of slave women, that talked about how being raped was a daily part of growing up. And, when the mistress didn't want this little, light-skinned baby that looked like her children running around, they would have some pretense to have this pregnant woman being beat within an inch of her life, and they would literally cut the baby out and then stomp on the baby's head and whatever. So, baby, I'm like, no, I need to watch this, because just at the same time that this was happening to Charlie Kirk, 3 students in Evergreen, Colorado were seriously wounded by a mass shooter. So no, I feel like I'm not going to not watch it because my constitution is too sensitive, and was it a horrible way to die? Yes. But there were precautions that you could have taken to not having been there.
Well, and the other thing was, again, like he just said, it's unfortunate, but to keep our Second Amendment rights, a few people have to die. So
Hey, girl,
I'm
well,
glad you died
that's
on
you.
that hill. Yeah, I'm glad you died on that hill.
Right. Literally.
It sounds like that's what you wanted to do. Okay, well, all right.
And
And
in terms of like, that's that man has a wife and kids. I have a little bit of sympathy. I have some sympathy for the kids because those kids are young. Those aren't like teenagers, though. I think the oldest one is probably less than 5 years old, or they're less than 10. So, and they didn't ask to be born into this world. They didn't be asked to be born to parents like that. I don't really have any sympathy for the wife because she knew what kind of man she married and chose to have kids with. But I definitely feel bad for the kids because a lot of us had terrible fathers and mothers, and we didn't ask to be born with them. And no one's told me he was a terrible father to those kids, and so whatever he was to those kids, they no longer have that. So I feel bad for that, but ain't really shit about that. That's all I got. And it's not like I'm gonna take those kids in or anything. So
I mean,
tots and pears. All right, so next.
I've been with my boyfriend for a year and we've had conversations about marriage. He bought up a tattoo of my child's father's name on my butt and said I needed to cover it before we could get married. I explained I wouldn't cover it because my child's father gave me the greatest blessing, our child. The tattoo is sentimental, so covering his name isn't an option. He gave me an ultimatum saying it's either him or the tattoo. I don't think that's fair. It's just a tattoo. It doesn't affect our relationship. He just packed his bags, threw his key on the bed, and ended our relationship. To add insult to injury, he told me to ask my child's father to pay the rent this month. Do that, you say what?
Goddamn right. Goddamn right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I've been with my boy.
That was the end of the video. So, thoughts?
I need to get my thoughts together. Please talk about yours. I need to get mine together because no, I'm sorry. No, I don't.
Say what you're gonna say, Gary.
That was petty. No, that was petty. And when you met her, you knew she had a tattoo on her ass because the first time you slept with her, you saw she had a tattoo on her ass. And just like the 7th or 8th or however many times, because you said you've been with him for a year, you slept. So all this time, this has been bothering you, or because it's been there from the beginning. So it's not like you've never ever seen her without this. And it sounds as if you're a little insecure about something. I don't know if they have kids together or if it's just
I feel like
she has kids with the other person. Possibly, but and that might be a point of contention because she also, if that's the case, she may have been like, "Baby, I've had my kids. I don't want any more kids." And the fact that we don't have kids together, that's unfortunate. But I don't want to have any more kids because I know several women, and men and women, who are like, "Baby, I've had these kids and they grown or they at least
right, I don't want to go backwards. Having these kids. Why the fuck would I want to go back to all that?
So, right. So I can respect that, but the fact that you if it really bothered you that much, you could have even had a conversation with her about even covering it up or putting something around it as far as a tattoo is concerned. More open to, maybe. But again, this was never about her. She was okay with the tattoo. This was about his insecurities. And the thing is, if she was not that much in love with him or not that much invested with him, that's probably why she sat there and said, bitch, I'm not doing anything. It's my kid's father. Like, what the fuck? Like, it's just a name. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's it. That's all. That's it.
Yeah.
But he was having some issues.
You and I are on the same or at least similar pages
In this general area.
Oh, okay, that's good. I like that. I like that setup. I like that as well. So then I need to, because you can, if you set up the way you want a particular screen to look, so then we're a little small at the bottom, but at least you can sort of see us. But because I like to keep the comment on the screen. So my thing is that he was looking for a reason to leave.
That part too, possibly.
And so this was just, I don't want to even say it's the straw that broke the camel's back, because like you, he knew this bitch that had a tattoo since this bitch, like, I don't know this woman. She could be a lovely woman otherwise. You know, he knew this woman had a tattoo as long as he known her. Because you said the first time they fucked, you saw that tattoo. And now that you don't want to be involved anymore, you're making a big deal. It's like you're picking a fight and you are making it a thing, whatever. But on the other hand, to the woman, I'm like, come on now. Because I kind of feel like if that man had a picture of a tattoo of his girlfriend's on his chest or on his arm or whatever, like her name, I'm not going to, her name was, let's say her name was Karen. He got a picture of Karen with a heart on it. And, you know, because he didn't say that he didn't say that she had a tattoo of her, the father of her children and the children's name. She just had a picture, a tattoo of the man's name. So how would she feel if she met a dude that said, Karen gave me the greatest blessings that I have, my 2 kids, so I have her name on my chest? I think she'd have some problems with that. So let's not pretend like he is totally overreacting, but the timing of the overreaction is convenient, particularly to now, because now the rent is due. Because like if you was going to have an issue with it, you would have had the issue from the jump, not right this moment.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah. And I mean, and the other part is, suppose that was the name of her son. Like, if he's a junior or or the third or something, like, what the?
She ain't saying any of that, so I can't assume.
I'm not, but I'm just, what I'm saying is, because again, that would be, so listen,
and
my mother.
If that's the case, then he would know that too. And then that even, I agree with a black hoe. We know who that is. Getting a tattoo taken off or covered up will be expensive in a process. If he can't get over it, then he needed to leave. And my thing is that you knew you had a problem with it from the beginning. You just, you know, we're being frank here. You just liked the pussy at the time, and maybe it was just fun pussy for the moment, but the shit has gotten too serious. Or maybe it might literally be that you don't have your half of the rent this month, and you like, bitch, I need to get out of this shit. And this is like a convenient excuse. Because if I didn't like the tattoo, we would have had that conversation up front before I moved in, because they're clearly living together.
But listen, the other part to all of this is this woman's body, period. She came in the door with this. You're not going to change. Like, so these are my feelings on this. Like, when people say, oh, I'm with my woman or I'm with my man and I want them to get plastic surgery, or I want them to get their breasts enlarged, or I want them to get pec implants or butt implants or whatever. That's not what they want. If that's what they wanted, that's one thing. But if that's what you want for them, that sounds like that's an insecure thing. That's a control part as well. Like, what are you doing? Like, so I don't know how I feel about that you want her to take this off of her body. It's something that she made a conscious effort to think about and put on her body and the reasons behind it. So, and like you said, if it was the other way around, it was your girlfriend's name on. Like, do I even really? Because for me, if I was gonna go that road, it would be like, well, okay, you have your baby father or baby mother's name on your arm. Okay, well, if we together and we get married and I'm your husband and you're my wife or whatever, then you gonna put our name on there too? Like what? I mean, you gonna cover that up somehow? Like what?
Just the whole idea that you are putting names of bitches you might.
And that's a whole nother conversation
All right. So here's my general thing. Put your mama's name on your body, put your father's name, your grandparents, and your children. Don't put the name of somebody that you could sever the relationship with tomorrow. Because no one's ever going to say you got to take your mama's name off your chest. I mean,
absolutely not.
That's a level of crazy that whatever. Or you got to take your kid's name off of your chest. But also, I'm like, if I met somebody and they had their former boyfriend's name tattooed on their body, I feel like I would probably be fine with it because I don't really care what you did before you fucked me, unless I had some sort of serious issue. Like I felt like y'all were still fucking and we didn't have some sort of an open relationship, So again, it just feels like it's a lot going on and she probably dodged a bullet. But girl, let's not act like he is like, and you're never going to meet anybody who might not have a problem with you having another man's name tattooed on your body. Thank you, a black hoe. I mean, I love my mother and father to death, but I would never get Stephanie and Charles's name put on my body for any reason. I just don't. That's not how I would memorialize them. I mean,
that's not my thing. Yeah, that's not my thing.
And all of this shit right there. That's how I memorialize them. I don't need to put pictures on my body. Also, when I be looking at tattoos, I was like, what is that shit gonna look like when you are 80?
That part. This is so. Listen, let me talk to you about because this is one of the main reasons why my black self did not get branded when I was in college. I don't wear my arms out. If I did anything, I would have got it on my calf. That's about it. I didn't really. I don't want to do that. And then when it did happen for me, something that was small and it was my chapter thing. That was more than enough. But again, I still go back to, baby, you ain't seen me walk around in no t-shirt with my arm. You have, if you have, it's been in a room or in a close setting or maybe at a pool somewhere. But just to walk out in the street, you have never seen me with all my fat out on the arms. I am never going to do that. So that's the point. For me, I knew I was never going to get a brand. Me.
And I respect, and Grace says, I have my father's death date. And if my mother goes before me, I will add her death date to the existing tattoo. I respect all of that. I mean, I'm not shitting on anyone else's choices. I'm just saying for me, I would not choose to memorialize anything about the people that I loved the most by getting a tattoo.
Yeah, I have thought, in my mind, I have thought about my mother and my sister.
Yeah.
My father, what's the point? A, he's right here. B, he's on the birth certificate and in my name. So what are we doing? Like
right.
It's not even that. It's not that deep for me.
But it just it's just like when like we are so in love. I'm gonna get this man's name tattooed on my chest, and I'm like,
listen,
and like I'm a cynic because, and I know that 95% of the relationships that you ever have in your life are not going to work out by definition.
Yeah, that's like me trying to tattoo my baby on my Clark on my. Absolutely not.
Now a cat, I might, I'm not one of those people, but I respect. I mean, your relationship with your pet lasts until the pet dies, so I can respect that because that's like a child. I mean, I can respect that, but a romantic partner, I would never put a romantic partner's name on my body.
Baby, if I walk out this door and I got Clark Jillian on my body, baby, check me into Bellevue or whatever. Because I
Thank you, Grace. If I tattooed my past lovers, this body will be full from head to toe. Listen, I respect that, and I totally understand. All right, we got 2 more. We're gonna go through this.
Doing dating apps for a queer person of color is a cesspit where all your confidence goes to die. Like, let's be
Yeah.
completely honest.
Yeah.
Grindr was actually proven to be the one app people walk away feeling the worst about themselves afterwards. And I think that applies across the board.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't fit a certain narrative of what is beautiful, what is exceptional in the queer community, you're fucked. People of color, more often than not, you're only really considered, like, the standard of beauty you have to achieve to be considered attractive
have to be, like,
is
stunning
so much higher.
yeah.
And also, a lot of the time, you need to have Eurocentric features.
I posted this, but the thing to me, when people start talking about,
didn't we see this before, or did we just?
We can dance over.
Person? No, I'm asking.
I think we already talked about this. Maybe we did, because I got to delete them out of the queue. That way, I remember not to do it. I'll do it after the show. So this one was kind of sad to me.
What is the first thing you would do? If you was the opposite gender for a day, what is the first thing you would do?
Selling pussy.
Sell pussy?
Yes, ma'am.
Sell pussy where?
Corner store, supermarket, Whole Goods, OnlyFans, Walmart, Target too. Y'all see some over there. I'm gonna fly out, go to probably New Orleans, Florida, Miami, 305. But yeah, I'm selling pussy.
Thank you. Thank you. If you was the opposite gender for one day, what's the first thing you would do?
Catch an STD.
Catch an STD? But why?
Because I want to know how it feels.
If you was the opposite gender for one day, what's the first thing you would do?
I'm starting on OnlyFans.
But why?
That's the easiest way to get bread these days.
What about become a doctor, become a therapist?
That takes too long. OnlyFans quick, fast, and in a hurry.
But who said your pussy was going to be good?
I know it's gonna be good.
If you was the opposite gender for one day, what's the first thing you would do?
Ain't gonna lie, starting OnlyFans.
Why everybody wanna start OnlyFans? Why?
Free money?
What you mean free money? You can, bro.
I get the money currency, then I send it to my dad or my family members. Boom, I switch back. Now I'm a dude, I got the money.
If you was the opposite gender for one day, what's the first thing you would do?
I ain't even gonna count. I'll probably go buy some clothes. I ain't gonna lie. Like, I have some like tight ass jeans. I'm gonna straight have Lulu, fucking, I'm gonna have all kinds of shit. They ass gonna be fat. I ain't even gonna count. No gay shit though. No gay shit. No gay. Get my hair done. Get my.
So listen, I think there's something to what these kids were saying. Something. But the one that was disturbing to me was the STD. That was disturbing to me.
Very.
Like, you want to know how it feels?
To get an STD.
Like, I don't even know if she really thought that out. I think she just kind of said, oh, I said it, so I'm going to just go ahead and stand 10 toes down on it.
Hey, Tyra. Bitch. The first thing I was thinking...
But I mean, for myself,
very first thing,
yeah. But for myself, yeah. Listen.
The very first thing I was thinking that is if I did that and said any of the things that these young people said, that when I got home. Now, I've told you that my parents, I'm not saying I never got a spanking or a beating or whatever, however you want to describe it, but they were few and far between because my mother was borderline abused by my grandmother. So, you know, she didn't, her first resort was not the belt and definitely not switches. And, you know, my father's mother, she, you know, if I did something wrong, she'd be like, Brian, I am very disappointed in you. Now, I don't know if that's how she raised her children, but that's certainly how she talked to her grandchildren. So, but I do know that if I had done something like that, and you know, It might take a day or two for it to get back because someone would have been like, Stephanie, this is the microphone. Did you see Brian on TV talk about if he was a girl for a day, he would want to get an STD and an OnlyFans? The way that my mother will be waiting for me with that Salem Ultralight 100, like, get your ass
with the ash hanging off the end of it,
no,
hanging off the end of it, just dangling on.
No. She would have tapped it. She'd be like, get your ass in this house right now. You see the way I'm looking in the camera? Get your ass in this house right now. I'm nervous just thinking about it because I don't know what I was thinking because then she would have beat me to an inch of my life. And then, because my father worked midnight shift. So then if he got to be awake during the day to deal with some bullshit because here's the thing. My father's blue collar. So he would have been at Metro with all of these other dudes and be like, I seen your son on the YouTube. He's gonna wait to be a woman to get an STD. And I'm about to black out just thinking about the amount I would just be my father died in 2018, my mother died in 1999. I would still just be getting off punishment from saying that shit 30 years ago. Yes, she would have beat me light skinned. I just can't believe that these kids felt comfortable enough to say this, knowing like you could only say this if you know that your parents ain't gonna beat you or whatever. Because I know I would have, even if I thought any of that, I would have never said any of that because I'd have been like, what if my parents see this? I already know what happened. You know, my father used to work for INS long before it was ICE in the 70s. Before he worked for Metro for 32 years and 8 months. But before that, he worked for INS. So he used to have to go to the southern border to install radio towers. And one time he picked up one of those pens with the woman in a bathing suit, and then you turn the pen upside down and the bathing suit disappears. And so, bitch, I took that pen to school one day, and I was just using it like a regular pen. I wasn't even necessarily like flashing it around, or whatever. And the teacher saw it and I got in trouble. The amount of trouble I got into for just having that pen that they bought. It wasn't like I bought this pen. The amount of trouble I got into that was already off the chain. I can't even.
But you're saying you didn't know it. You're saying this pen, you didn't know this pen did
this? I
this?
do it. Part of me, that's why I took it, to show to my friends. But I wasn't. And so one of the girls was like, ooh, Miss Johns, you see that pen that Brian has? Look at it. And she took it, and automatically bad enough because this is the 70s. A picture of a white woman in a bathing suit that you turn upside down and the pen disappears. Baby, that was the height of pornography in 1979. Now the girls got videos of girls getting their backs blown out, on their phones. But that was the height of pornography in 1979, 1980.
Baby, you saw a little boob slippage because as a kid,
it was no boob slippage.
I was like
literally
X-rated.
It was like she was naked, and then there was a layer of ink that was on when you held the pen upright. But when you turn it upside down to right, the bathing suit drained away. So it was this naked white woman just on the pen. And that was the height of pornography in 1979.
Listen, this is where we are. This is where we were.
My God, today. I'm still just nervous just thinking about it. Just thinking about the kind of, and then, and my grandparents were still, and my grandmother was dying of cancer. My father's mother was dying of breast cancer. And if she she would have burst into tears. Oh God, just the whole drama behind it.
I don't have so yes, I agree with it because you know then it's gonna go like wildfire through the whole family. Everybody gonna know cousin Johnny on your father's side, the one I don't even talk to, 3 cousins removed. Everybody gonna know. But she said, "Is that you on the TV?" I said, "What? Is that you? I'm sitting here watching Bobby Jones. Is that you on the TV?" And I was like,
right.
But wait, it was me because I was in the audience. I went to a taping and I was like,
oh
yeah, I was there. I was like, oh, okay. Listen, one of the stunt queens that friends on the show, Nichelle, she would come in. She was working at the time. She was producing the show, so I was in the audience, and I forgot all about it. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, hallelujah, yeah, okay. I think it was Karen Clark Sheard or somebody else. I was like, oh yeah. But again, I can imagine if my grandmother saw that just at that random moment in time, I know everybody else in the family would have saw something crazy. And and it seems like as you're at the time I was the youngest grandchild, so it seems like everybody had to know everything about me and what I did, but I didn't get to know anything about what everybody else did. But because I was the youngest, everybody had to know what I did.
Girl, I still remember I have a cousin named Emma Joyce who had a cousin named Emma Joyce who used to be a nun, and she left the nunnery and whatever, came back home, whatever. And one of those hot ass summers where we were forced to go to Alabama, I'm in the bed and I had an erection. It wasn't like she was spying. Remember, this is the grandmother's house. You don't know there was no closed doors. So I'm sleeping on this fold-out sofa and I'm asleep. And, you know, here we are. That bitch told everybody in the family. Everybody. Oh, everybody. God. Like, you know, I saw Brian, you know, and he had his erection was just poking up in the blood. I was like, to the point where my mother was like, Emma Joyce, if you don't shut the fuck up about my son. Because it was like, bitch, he's 14 years old. What the fuck?
He's a walking hormone. What the fuck are you talking about?
Even if not, I was like, what was the point of, you know, my mother was, see, that's why my mother moved away from Montgomery, Alabama, because she, you know, all of that kind of shit and craziness and, you know, yeah. So anyway, all right. So we have one more story, and this is a friend of the show.
Pleasure can be the thing that helps you get through the day. My name is Erica, and I'm a lot of things. I'm a wife, I'm a therapist, I'm a parent, I'm a daughter. But what I am really, and what I'm here to talk about, is a woman about to turn 50 and going through perimenopause. I, like many of you, had to rediscover and understand what pleasure actually meant for me. And it's taken some time. I'm not even going to say that I have all the answers, but I'm definitely on a really solid path. As a therapist, I sit in a lot of people's pain in the course of a day. And what is the opposite of pain? It's pleasure. So I'm inviting you to follow along with me, all of my ladies in their 40s and 50s, going through the changes in life. Having done everything that you can do, you're feeling all of the big feels. This is my love song to you. I've been writing a book focusing on the trials and tribulations that we are all way too familiar with. And I'm trying to approach it with some fun, some honesty, some suggestions, but also some smutty deliciousness that maybe will help us all get our engines revving and finding sexual pleasure, but also really exploring how to find pleasure in all of the ways. We're going to laugh. We're going to cry sometimes. We're going to get really real. And we're going to remind ourselves that joy, pleasure, happiness, they still belong to us. We get to be a part of that. We get to create it and we get to receive it as we enter into this next really exciting new chapter of our lives. And so come along. Let's have a good time together.
So her name is...
so happy for her. I'm so happy for her.
Yeah, very much so. That is Dr. Erica Evans. You can see her Instagram page. It's called, I think, Pleasure and Prose. Hold on, let me go find it real quick. And why don't you start talking about your stories, and then I will get the exact name of it.
I would say I can look for it, but if you want to go, that's fine. But go ahead.
Because I have it mainly because she messaged me. She tagged or sent the post to me directly.
Okay. Well, let me go ahead. I'm gonna start talking about some of the things that were going on this week. The first thing is that that man died, Kirk.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. The other part that I wanted to mention, or the other sad news I wanted to bring out, was Polly Holiday just passed yesterday. And if you don't know who Polly Holiday is, she was on the TV show Alice, and her name was Flo, and her famous tagline was "Kiss my grits." Listen, Polly Holiday was absolutely hilarious. And the other part is, listen, that show Alice, baby, I loved that damn song. When it came on, it was like early to bed, early to rise, and in between I've cooked and cleaned and went out of my head. Anyway, I like that little song. But anyway, we lost Polly. She was in several other movies, several other television shows, but that had to have been her biggest role ever, where she played Flo, and she was the southern redhead, gum popping, attitudinal white woman that would tell men exactly what she felt, and she did whatever the hell she wanted to do, when she wanted to do it, how she wanted to do it, and with who she wanted to do it. That was Flo. So condolences to her family, and she's no longer with us, and so yeah, but she was definitely funny to me, and I enjoyed that show. But the show was on like 1970, like mid 70s to mid 80s, I think it was, because there were several shows that spun off of that as well. But anyway,
and by the way, the hashtag for Dr. Erica is not hashtag, but the name of the Instagram account is Pleasure and Prose on Instagram. And as she said, anybody can join it, but it's really aimed at women, in their, mid to late 40s and 50s going through perimenopause. So feel free to check her out. Anyway, keep going.
So, but again, with death, there's always, on the flip side, there's some good news, there's some life. Corey Broadus, who you might know, her famous daddy, otherwise known as Snoop Doggy, Snoop Dogg. But Corey shared a glimpse of her baby girl, and she had a little girl named Cody. And but she revealed that she was in the NICU for the past 6 months. They reported this out in the Shade Room back in December, that she was expecting her first child with her fiance, Wayne Deuce. Then a month later, in January, she had a severe stroke. And then the following month, she talked about how she was getting serious with her health journey, and so she wound up losing 40 pounds. Then in March, she revealed that her daughter was born. And at the time, she was only 25 weeks pregnant, so that's why she's in a NICU. And most recently, what she has posted was the fact that she's out of the incubator and into a big girl bed, which means that she's not covered up. It's not a NICU. It's just a bed inside the actual hospital itself. So she's kind of happy about that. So kudos to her. Congratulations to Snoop and Corey and Wayne for their bundle of joy and grand joy, Cody Drew. So just wanted to share that out as well. Another piece of bad news was that the fashion world, we lost Giorgio Armani, and he was the famous Italian designer. His work was just completely just amazing, timeless, elegant, simple, like all these things that they used to say about, or still say about, Giorgio Armani's work. He worked up until his final days. He was 91. He had ran a company that was estimated to turn out about $2.7 billion a year. He had been ill for some time. He missed Milan's Fashion Week. He was born in Piacenza, Italy in 1934. He was raised in the northern part of the country and swapped early medical ambitions for a fashion career, launching his eponymous label in 1975. He was very private. He told Vanity Fair at one particular point that he had been in a relationship with both men and women, and he was in the fashion industry for 50 years. People will definitely miss him. He used to do silken suits to colognes, and everything about the brand Armani. It was just rich in substance, but not necessarily just in the price tag as well. Because this stuff is a little expensive. But again, we lost Giorgio Armani, so he didn't have any children that were listed, but he did have some other family that are definitely mourning his loss. So, but I also wanted to send out a speedy recovery to Uncle Billy, Billy Porter. He was actually in the hospital dealing with a serious case of sepsis. He was actually in the onstage play Cabaret, and unfortunately, the show was going to be closing down 4 weeks earlier because he developed this case of sepsis. There are two people that are going to be understudies or whatever that are going to take over the show for the last couple of weeks, Marty Lauder and David Marino, in the role of the MC, which is that famous role that Jennifer Grey's father did in the original Cabaret. But his doctors are confident that he will make a full recovery. And if many of you don't know what sepsis is, it's a serious condition where the body responds improperly to an infection. The infection fighting processes turn on the body, causing the organs to work poorly. So we're just sending thoughts, prayers, and well wishes to Uncle Billy so that he can get himself together and get back out here and turn the kids with some of these hairdos, fashion choices, and attitude, and killer vocals. So we're looking forward to that. This week we did have some social media slays, and if you could do me the honor of showing the first two pick clips, because there were two things that popped up on a couple different Facebook sites. One off of the Celebrity Leaked.
All right. So
if you can zoom.
Okay, it's coming up.
So that's okay. But so that's the website. I wanted to make sure, or the Facebook page, Celebrity. But on that particular page, there was this post that was put up, and it was supposedly put up by Amber Rose, and the post was Amber had a picture of her and Kanye, and it says, "I'm not going to lie. After all these years, Kanye West chose to marry a lady who has a video sucking dick instead of me." He had 4 kids with that. I'm reading what she says. He had 4 kids with that bitch Kim Kardashian, yet he couldn't even have one with me. It will really never make sense to me because I was literally willing to do anything to keep us together, and be the next Black Power couple. Wiz Khalifa is just a weed junkie. He never speaks business or the future. Hence, we didn't even last. But yay, we would have went far. So Kanye saw her post, and it was a tweet that she had actually put out there, and he replied with, "Please respect my ex-wife because even you got famous because you used to suck my dick. You are both the same. I just chose a smarter hoe." Ladies and gentlemen,
this is all messy. I'd be like, you can't. You could have shut the fuck up. So you brought this shit on yourself. So
right?
Okay? So he had 4 kids, but why would he? Listen, I don't even care that much. Okay, so sure.
So the second social media slay was on Ballroom Clips and Dips, and it was posted under a page called The Venetian. And so they were talking about this breaking news that happened. So they said Nicki Minaj, who didn't win at this year's VMAs, stirred the pot after Gaga took home the Artist of the Year. Nicki tweeted, "Funny how you can wear 50 costumes, scream art, and the industry falls at your feet. Meanwhile, rappers like me write bars, break records, and set trends, but somehow it's never enough. Fashion shows ain't music, they're distractions." So Gaga clapped back and she said, Nikki, costumes don't win awards, creativity does. I don't need bars to make history. I am the show, the art, and the culture all at once. Try it sometime. It lasts longer than rants.
I mean, spark a lie,
Baby.
though, because, you know, I'm not even a Lady Gaga fan like that.
But the way,
you know,
it was gathered in a nice, neat package.
It was gathered in a nice, neat package because, you know, Gaga isn't some of these girls who lack talent and, you know, just whatever. Gaga, I mean, I'm not super into her like that, but it's not that I feel about her the way I wish other people would feel about Beyonce. You cannot like Gaga, but you can't be like, the bitch isn't talented.
Because she is, absolutely. And the thing that I liked about Gaga, and I've always liked about Gaga, she was very open about the fact that, baby, she is a ballroom kid. She was definitely on the ball. So, baby, Nikki, you going down the lane that I don't even think you even understand, because she let you off real nice from what I just the verb. That was nice. She was trying to be nice. Because I'm sure that mouth gets a little.
The mouth could get shicey. And again, all of these things don't help you with the people who need to vote for you.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not suggesting that you hold your tongue if you feel like you was truly deserving of the award. But Artist of the Year, I mean, what's Gaga's latest song?
Abracadabra.
I hate that song. Well, I don't hate it, but I don't get why the kids love it so much. It just don't put no tune in my horn, but the kids love it. The video is cute. And I mean, Artist of the Year, yeah. I mean, I'm not seeing Nikki.
But how was Nikki going to take Artist of the Year? Like, I'm not even I'm not saying that Gaga should have won Artist of the Year, but is somebody going to tell me that Nikki going to be Artist of the Year? What has she done this past year? What is she?
And that's my thing. And I'm just like, you know, Twitter and the internet and social media has given the girls a platform to say shit that does nothing but keep their publicists in, you know, Ferraris and new clothes.
Listen, all I will say is, Nikki, you have learned this.
Enemy.
Yeah, you have learned this the hard way several times, and I think you just, maybe you have dementia and you forgot. Maybe your long-term memory is gone. Maybe your short-term memory is gone. I don't know, but sometimes if you just don't say nothing, just shut the fuck. Just, you ain't got to post anything. Just don't say nothing, Nikki, because I think you're definitely making more enemies than you're making friends at all. Like, come on. But hey, I'm letting.
Well, what do I know?
So I wanted to mention some new music that came out this week. Speaking of Lady Gaga, she had a new song that came out called the Dead Dance. It's a synth pop little song, and it's actually written for the Wednesday Netflix series. So it's kind of shows up in that series, as well as she does. She shows up in this series as well. Jennifer Lopez has a new single out called "Kiss of the Spider Woman" from the upcoming movie of the same name. I'm a little nervous about J-Lo in "Kiss of the Spider Woman." I'm a little nervous, just a little bit.
It's, you know, because J-Lo does perfectly fine in those little totally unrealistic rom-coms where she is. First of all, she plays the most stereotypical roles. She's, you know, the Latina bride or the Latina maid who meets the perfect man and overcomes all of the odds to get the man. But that's what rom-coms are about. But these are light, fluffy things. Now, was she good in The Cell? What's The Cell?
No.
I thought she was good in that.
My opinion of The Cell was the visuals were fucking amazing.
Okay, so all right, so I take that back because I feel like I've only lightly seen maybe part of it. I have seen the visuals. The visuals were stunning,
fucking amazing. Now, in my opinion, the best thing that she's ever done was Monster in Law. She was absolutely hilarious in that.
She was hilarious in Monster in Law. Yes,
absolutely hilarious. But I'm a little nervous about her in this Kiss of Spider Woman, but we're gonna see. But again, like I said, The Cell, the visuals were fucking amazing. Like, I can watch it. Matter of fact, I think I'm gonna try to. I think I have that. I think I'm gonna try to watch that. But anyway, Other new music, Calvin Harris and Jesse Reyes teams up for a new song called Banger. I'm sorry, a new banger called Ocean. And Calvin Harris he did that song with Rihanna. I think it's called This Is What You Want. This Ain't What You Want.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's called. But it was he's a DJ that's kind of thing where she did Wild Wild Thoughts, and she had Carlos Santana with that music. Her song she did with Calvin Harris. It was a real popular song for her. It's kind of a housey, clubby type of thing, kind of that where have you been all my life type of vibe. But he's a great DJ, and that song that she had with him was really big. I can't think of the name right now. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. But also, I wanted to point out that there's some new music that's going to be coming out, but it's a remake of old stuff, if you will. So Sony Music released K-Pop. It's an Apple TV and original soundtrack, Volume 1. And it's an album of music from Apple TV's new show. It's a global song battle series featuring cross-cultural collaborations between Western music legends and K-pop stars. And it's actually pretty cute from what I've seen so far. The first of an eventual 2-volume album release arriving later this month. The collection features hits from Patti LaBelle, the Spice Girls, Mel B, Emma Bunton, Vanilla Ice, TLC, Boyz II Men, and Eve. And baby, you got to get into Eve and and her performance. You got to get into Patti and her performance. Like these combinations, these little collabs have been they've been pretty damn groovy. Megan Thee Stallion is one of the stars, and I think she's an executive producer as well as Lionel Richie, who's actually behind the scenes as well. This song this show is actually pretty amazing. But again, they're having a soundtrack, and this is the first volume, and that first set is going to be 7 songs, and it's going to be Lady Marmalade, Wannabe, Ice Ice Baby, Let Me Blow Your Mind, Waterfalls, Hold My Hand, and End of the Road. And they're going to be each will perform throughout the show's 8 episodes in a series of collaborative performances and live from Seoul. So again, if you have Apple TV, it's on Apple TV, but they are going to be putting out that original soundtrack. So be on the lookout for that. And if you have Apple TV, take a look at the show. The show again is called K-Pop, and it definitely is it's a cute little show. It's a cute little show from what I've seen so far. So I definitely say go check it out.
Excellent. Well, all right then. This has been another fun episode. I'm so excited. I'm always excited to see you all. And next week we have a regular show, or I might have to go to fabulous Providence, Rhode Island.
Next week is fine, but remember on the 24th
that's where I was going. That we on the 24th we have an interview with the one, the only Racine Pendavis. So I am very excited about that, and I got a few other people that I need to call and see what they are doing and where they are in the world, and get that happening. So we're going to be doing some things and some stuffs.
Yes, that is true. Thank you for reminding me. That means I need to reach out to this other person that has not gotten back to me. I'm going to reach out to them again.
Yes.
But yes. So we're going to try to do some things a little different this season and have some guest appearances. Maybe even have a stunt queen panel for a part of the show. It's still in the works. We got to figure that out.
Yeah, that could be fun.
Out of that. But we'll see how that goes. But again, stay tuned because we're going to try to do some different stuff this season. I know we say that every season, but we're going to actually try this time.
I know, right?
We're going to actually try. That's what it is. So,
well, all right, kids. I think it's about time for us to say thank y'all for coming out. God bless you and good night. Bye.